Life has always been a game of survival. Every creature, from the tiniest insect to the biggest land predator, is in a constant battle to hunt, to escape, and to dominate. But what really makes a predator successful? Is it speed, strength, intelligence, or maybe something else entirely? Now, think about some of the most famous predators we have today: lions, wolves, crocodiles, and then there's the hyena. With its strange reputation, some call it a scavenger, sneaky and lurking in the shadows. Others know it as a fierce hunter, capable of taking down prey much larger than itself. And then there's that laugh, halfway between a giggle and a maniacal villain plotting world domination. What if I told you there was an animal long ago, which looked nothing like the hyenas we know today, but actually scavenged just like a hyena, only bigger, stronger, and far more terrifying? The beast we are talking about is the Daeodon, previously known as Dinohyus, which translates to the terrible hyena. The story behind it, having all of these names, goes back to the 90s, when many paleontologists have argued that Dinohyus hollandi and Daeodon shoshonensis are actually the same kind of animal. Nowadays, Daeodon is the most common name because it was given that name first. Now, just looking at this creature is like entering a window into one of the wildest chapters of Earth's history. We're talking here about the early Miocene epoch, roughly 23 to 5 million years ago. Back then, North America was a very different place, teeming with all sorts of unique animals, and the Daeodon was one of the standout giants of that time. What's interesting about this so-called hyena is that it holds a unique spot for its classification. In the grand family tree of mammals, it's part of a group called entelodonts, which are often dubbed terminator pigs. So in reality, they were more pigs than actual hyenas. But don't let the nickname fool you. These guys were no ordinary swine. They were more like the unexpected mashup of a pig's body with a carnivore's spirit, showcasing the incredible diversity of mammalian evolution. And they played a similar role as the modern-day hyenas, which is the reason for their unique nickname. At the end of the day, they were practically hyenas, but very terrible ones. Standing at about 1.8 meter tall at the shoulder and stretching up to 3.6 meter in length, it was comparable in size to a modern bison, but with a much more intimidating presence. Estimates suggest it weighed between 450 to 600 kilograms, making it one of the largest land predators of its era. One of its most striking features was its massive skull, which could reach up to 90 centimeters in length. It also had long, sturdy limbs, with the front legs slightly longer than the hind ones, giving it a sloping back. This limb structure suggests it was built for power rather than speed, favoring short bursts of activity over long chases. Unlike many other prehistoric carnivores, Dinohyus had a distinctive hump on its shoulders, formed by elongated neural spines on the vertebrae. This feature may have supported strong neck muscles, aiding in taking down prey or scavenging carcasses. Additionally, its elongated snout and high-set eyes means it had a keen sense of smell and a broad field of vision, which are essential traits for both hunting and scavenging. To make things more clear, let's put this beast's size into perspective. We all know lions are big, right? A fully grown male lion can weigh around 180 kilograms and stand about 1.2 meters tall at the shoulder. That's a serious predator. Despite that, our hyena could dwarf a lion. Imagine a living tank. If it walked past you, its back would be at eye level, and in terms of length, about the size of a small car. And when it comes to weight, we're talking more than twice the size of a lion. Just imagine seeing something that size, stomping around, built like a war machine. Compared to today's predators, this thing wasn't just big, it was a walking nightmare for anything that crossed its path. We already made it clear that our hyena was not technically a hyena. Sure, its reputation as a bone-crushing predator might make you think otherwise, but in reality, it wasn't even closely related. Hyenas belong to the order Carnivora, which includes dogs, cats, bears, and much more. Daeodon, on the other hand, was part of a completely different group called entelodonts, as we previously said. But even calling them pigs isn't quite right. While they're distantly related to modern pigs, they were much more specialized predators and scavengers. So, if Daeodon wasn't a hyena or a type of pig, what actually was it? Let's think of it as a strange evolutionary experiment. An animal that had the bulk of a bison, the skull of a monstrous boar, and the eating habits of a scavenging predator. Evolution really got creative with this one. Early interpretations weren't always so accurate. When scientists first discovered entelodont fossils, some assumed they were just oversized pigs that rooted around for plants. Others thought they were sluggish scavengers, waiting for something else to do the killing. But more recent studies have painted a very different picture. We can resume it in 3 major points. This thing wasn't slow. Its long, muscular legs suggest it could move surprisingly fast for its size, maybe not cheetah-level speed, but definitely quick enough to chase down prey if needed. It wasn't just a scavenger. While Dinohyus probably took advantage of carcasses like modern hyenas do, its powerful jaws, sharp teeth, and strong bite force suggest it was more than capable of taking down live prey. It was bigger than early reconstructions showed. Fossils prove it was a true giant, much larger than early estimates suggested. Some of the first drawings made it look like just a big pig, but in reality, it was built more like a terrifying tank of muscle and bone. So, just forget any images of a giant, lazy pig wandering around the prehistoric plains. In the late 19th to early 20th centuries, paleontologists were uncovering all sorts of bizarre prehistoric creatures in North America. The first major fossils of this beast were discovered in Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming, regions that were once vast, open plains teeming with ancient mammals. One of the most famous discoveries came from the agate fossil beds, a site packed with prehistoric bones from all kinds of Miocene-era animals. It was here that researchers found nearly complete skeletons of Dinohyus. And unlike big cats or bears, this creature had a totally different approach to hunting and scavenging, one that blurred the line between omnivore and apex predator. That's why, thanks to its discovery, we learned that dominant hunters didn't always have to be from the carnivora group, and how evolution can create unexpected predator designs, proving that large, powerful meat-eaters didn't always have to be smaller than the prey they hunt, just to save energy. However, some scientists still believe it was more than just a cunning omnivore, while others argue that its powerful jaws and teeth point to active hunting. There's also been some back and forth on whether it truly was the last and largest of its kind, or if there were even bigger entelodonts that haven't been found yet. Regardless of the debates and theories, one thing is clear: Daeodon was a top-tier prehistoric beast, and its fossils have helped reshape our understanding of what predators could look like in the distant past. If you look back at Daeodon's skull, the first thing you'll notice is its massive jaws and ridiculously strong teeth. But unlike modern predators with long, sharp fangs designed purely for slicing meat, Dinohyus had a mix of different teeth, which tells us a lot about its diet. Their front teeth, which include incisors and canines, were large and pointed, great for biting and tearing into flesh. That means it could definitely handle meat, whether from hunting or scavenging. Secondly, the molars and premolars were thick and flat, with ridges made for crushing bones or grinding tough plants. This indicates Dinohyus wasn't a strict carnivore. It probably ate whatever it could find, including roots, tough vegetation, and even bones. Finally, their massive jaw muscles meant insanely strong bites, strong enough to easily crack bones like a hyena does today, or even better. So, what did all of this mean for its diet? Well, from what we just saw, it was probably an omnivore, eating whatever was available. It could scavenge carcasses, hunt smaller or weaker animals, and even munch on plants if meat was scarce. In today's world, that would make it similar to bears or hyenas, which are both powerful predators but also won't turn down an easy meal. And let's not forget, Dinohyus lived in a world full of big herbivores. A creature this big and strong could easily bully smaller predators away from their kills, kind of like how hyenas steal from lions in modern Africa. But we are not very sure if they did it alone or within herds. That's still one of many unanswered questions about this beast, because unfortunately, we don't have a Dinohyus fossil frozen in time showing us exactly how it acted. But we can still make some educated guesses based on what we know. Was it a pack hunter? Unlike wolves or lions, there's no clear evidence that Dinohyus lived in packs. Most fossils are found individually, not in groups. That means it was probably a solitary animal, like modern bears, roaming large territories alone. Did it actively hunt? While it probably wasn't the fastest predator, its strong legs and powerful bite mean they had the ability to ambush prey if given the chance. Think of it like a grizzly bear, not built for chasing, but more than capable of taking down something that got too close. How did it interact with other predators? Since it was one of the largest carnivores in its environment, smaller predators probably avoided direct conflict. If it wanted a meal, it could simply scare off other hunters. Its bone-crushing bite also meant it could scavenge efficiently, cracking open bones that other predators left behind. Did it mark its territory? We don't know for sure if they controlled a territory, but considering how modern large carnivores behave, it's likely that it was territorial. It probably roamed a large hunting ground and didn't tolerate competition. If two Daeodons ever crossed paths, it could have led to some pretty brutal fights, especially considering how robust their skulls were. In a nutshell, it was an absolute menace in its ecosystem. It was too big to ignore, too strong to challenge, and too adaptable to go hungry. It didn't need to be the fastest predator when it had brute strength and a bite force that could snap bones like twigs. Whether it was stealing kills, ambushing prey, or scavenging carcasses, it found a way to thrive. All in all, this wasn't just another predator. It was a prehistoric juggernaut. After everything we've discussed so far, one thing is clear. Daeodon, or Dinohyus, was a true anomaly of evolution. A creature that blurred the lines between scavenger and hunter, herbivore and carnivore, pig and something else entirely. For a predator this size and power, what could have led to its downfall? The most accepted theory is climate change and competition. As North America's ecosystem shifted, new predators and prey emerged. Faster, more specialized carnivores like early canids started to dominate, and the massive herbivores began to disappear or evolve better defenses. Simply put, the world changed, and Daeodon didn't change with it. It's a reminder that in nature, being the biggest and strongest isn't always enough. Survival isn't just about power, it's about adaptability. And while Daeodon ruled for a time, evolution had other plans. And remember, next time you think of hyenas as scary, just be glad you never had to meet this one in the wild.